We're looking at each division team by team to see what they need to do in the draft. So we're also doing a draft of the best players of that division, all four teams. Yesterday, AFC East. Today, the NFC East. Cowboys, Eagles, Washington, and Giants. Chris has the trivia question. If I get it right, when I get it right, I'll get the first pick.
All right, hold on. My ear pods, this is the new, my ear pod went out there, so I'm just trying to make sure I got it. Okay, I'm good. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let me unlock my phone, and here's the trivia. Who was the last NFC East team to win the division 2 years in a row? Man, who was the last team to win the division 2 years in a row? Michael Florio,
Wow.
you're on the clock.
Wow. Yeah, they've been bouncing around a lot. Let me just throw a dart here and say that it would be the New York Giants.
Absolutely not. Wah, 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 wah. Eat it. No, it's the Eagles, the 2001, 2002, 2003,
Wow.
2004.
Wow. That long
yes,
ago.
Sir.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
16 years since there's been a repeat champion of the NFC East. All right, you're next. You're
All
up.
right.
You're first.
Man, there's a lot of good in this division. This is actually a tough first pick here. But I'm going to go with the quarterback that I think's the best in the division right now, and Carson Wentz. I'm going to make Carson Wentz my first pick. I think Carson Wentz, again, a really talented player. We saw last year, I think the whole world saw a little bit, anybody paying attention to the NFL, how talented he is and what he did with the cast of characters that were around him towards the end of the season. I mean, it was nobody's. You and me are obsessed with the sport and live it. And we were going on Sundays going, wait, who is this guy a receiver? Who the hell is this running back? And they were still winning games with Carson Wentz. And he's a phenomenal football player. Yes, there's a little injury history. That's the only negative you could say. But he was, to me, the 2017 NFL MVP. And I think he's definitely one of the top 10 quarterbacks in football. Not top 5, but I think he's in that next group of guys, Mike, where you could say anywhere between 6 and 9 as the best quarterbacks in the sport right now.
It is amazing with so much publicity, so much discussion, so much focus that Dak Prescott gets because he's yet to get his second contract. He plays quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. You're right, Carson Wentz has done more with less. And that turnaround late last season, which included a Week 16 showdown with the Cowboys, a victory over the Cowboys to vault the Eagles to the NFC East title, it does merit some extra consideration for Carson Wentz. So, look, for me, it was one or the other. You decided it for me by taking Wentz. I'll take Dak Prescott. I still think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And when you look at how bad that division is, Dak Prescott, one of the few players that stands out. He hasn't gotten that second contract yet. He presumably will, unless he just wants so much the Cowboys say, screw it, we'll have him for 2 more years under the tag and then let him walk away. But he's done a lot without a ton around him. He didn't have a lot from Ezekiel Elliott last year.
That's
not
right.
nearly what he was used to. We saw the offense shift last year from being run-focused to pass-focused. And at one point, Dak Prescott was on pace to have over 5,000 yards. I think he still finished with 4,900, which is a huge year when you consider the fact that this is a team that was premised on running the football. So Dak Prescott, I may have taken him first if I had had the first pick. So we may be where we would have been even if I had gotten the trivia question right. I agree with your case for Carson Wentz, but there's just something about Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. That name just has more sizzle. The team has more sizzle.
Yeah, I get it. It's very close. I mean, I view Dak Prescott a lot with the same things I just said about Carson Wentz, really. I mean, he's really talented. Yes, he's not in the top 5 quarterbacks in football for me, but he's in that next group. He's somewhere between 6 and 10. And yeah, I think I view Carson Wentz maybe as a hair more talented than Dak Prescott. But nonetheless, Dak Prescott is part of the cream of the crop in the NFL at that position, a great leader and a quarterback that the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl with for sure. All right, I'm staying with the Eagles. I can't help it, but you know me, Mike. I like big asses and big legs, and Fletcher Cox has got both of them, all right? Fletcher Cox will be my second pick, the big, nasty defensive tackle. He just made the all-decade team, so that says a little bit about what he is. But this has been one of the best defensive players in football, not named Aaron Donald, for really about the last 4 to 5 years. Whatever you want him to do. You want him to plug the middle and stop the run game? No problem. He could take double teams and create a mosh pit. You want him to wreak havoc and get in the backfield, push the pocket to rush the pass or whatever it may be. Fletcher Cox is the number one weapon for that Eagles defense. And you saw last year when he wasn't totally healthy, they weren't the same defense. When he got healthy towards the end of the year, they started dominating again. That's what kind of player he is. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame defensive tackle at this point of his career.
Yeah, he got banged up in that playoff loss to the Saints in the 2018 season, and it carried over into the 2019 season. He fought through it, but he wasn't as good as he had been, but it finally came around for him. And Fletcher Cox, I agree with you, one of the best players, not just in his division, but in all of the NFL. All right, I'm going to go with Zeke. Even though Zeke had a down year by his standards, he still had 1,357 rushing yards. And he started every game for the first time in his career, averaged 4.5 yards per carry, had 12 rushing touchdowns, another 2 receiving touchdowns, a total of nearly 1,800 yards from scrimmage. And it's amazing. It just shows you how good he is. The standard he set, that we feel like it was a down year, when he still had 1,700 yards plus from scrimmage. So Ezekiel Elliott's still one of the finest players in all of football, and maybe going into this year, a little more motivated, a little more prepared, a little more chip on the shoulder, trying to prove some of the doubters wrong who saw a different Zeke last year. And look, we saw a different Zeke because it was a different Zeke once he busted through into the second level. He didn't turn those 15-yard gains into 40-yard gains like he had in the past. That was something you were all over all year long, and it was accurate. But he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL and one of the best players in his division.
Yeah, he's got great value. There's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you and I, what we're talking about with Zeke, we're holding him to a standard. You're the highest paid running back in football. We expect greatness. And yes, it was still a really awesome, good year. But there was some meat left on the bone on some of those runs. And, as you and I talk about a lot, it's not about what you got. It was what was there to be had. And I just felt like there were some runs with Zeke that, yes, he didn't maximize. I probably would have gone with Saquon Barkley over Ezekiel Elliott right now at the running back position. It's not going to be my pick, though.
Go ahead. Do it.
No,
do it.
It's not going to be my pick. It's not going to be my pick. I'm not going to be biased towards just the sexy skill guys. I'm going with another big nasty.
Legs and butt. Saquon Barkley. How can you not take Saquon Barkley when you're aficionado of the legs and butt of the football players?
Well, because Zach Martin's got an unbelievable derriere and legs, too. That's why. He's got plenty to go around, all right? So, yes, I'm going to go with Zach Martin. I mean, Zach Martin, a guard in football, this has been the most dominant guard in the game since he got drafted out of Notre Dame. He is certainly the best player on that Cowboys offensive line and what makes them go. But he's special in the fact that, he is a talented guy where, Fletcher Cox comes into town, Aaron Donald comes into town. We don't need to help out Zach Martin. He can block them by himself. He's that kind of talent. He's been one of the best, if not the best offensive lineman in football the last few years. He's certainly in that discussion. And another guy that's, on a Hall of Fame track. And wait, Mike, he made the all-decade team too, right? Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah,
he did.
So, yeah, Zach Martin will be my final pick.
But, I'm tempted to complete the trifecta here, like I'm working a slot machine, and I want it to come up Cowboy.
You're going to go Dexter Lawrence now?
No. I'm torn between 3 guys. I'm thinking DeMarcus Lawrence, but I'm thinking Amari Cooper. And I'm still puzzled by the Rex Ryan comments from last Friday about Amari Cooper. We've had Amari Cooper highlights constantly. Amari Cooper has every game some sort of a highlight where he does something inhuman to get open. The guy's an incredible receiver, but I'm going to go Saquon. You're leaving Saquon on the board. You're trying to play the Jedi mind trick on me by mentioning Saquon and not taking him. Saquon Barkley last year was banged up all season long. He had that horrible ankle injury against Tampa Bay. Should have missed a month and didn't, and still had 1,000 rushing yards in 13 games. He set a standard as a rookie that made last year feel like a disappointment, but we still got over 1,400 yards from scrimmage from Saquon Barkley behind a crap offensive line, all due respect, with a rookie quarterback. So Saquon Barkley's still a very, very special talent, and the sky continues to be the limit for him, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is still one of the most talented running backs and offensive weapons in the sport. And you're right, he's banged up. There wasn't a rookie quarterback change, no receiver to be scared of. Plus, not having a good offensive line. You're right. I mean, I think Saquon Barkley is a really, really special talent, and in that discussion for one of the best running backs in the sport. It's interesting, with the NFC East. When you break it down, Mike, I feel like a lot of my next picks were going to be linemen. A lot of, as Dave Gettleman would say, hog mollies in the NFC East. I mean, Trent Williams, Brandon Scherf, Tyrone Smith, Lane Johnson, who's probably the best right tackle in all of football for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was in the discussion, along with, Amari Cooper and Saquon Barkley as well. But interesting to see who the best players are in some of these divisions.
I would have thrown the challenge flag if you had tried to go Trent Williams. He's trying to get out of the division. He hasn't played in 2 years. He's never playing again unless they trade him
He's still
to
in the division,
Giants,
Mike.
Cowboys, or Eagles. He's not going to be in the division. I also was very impressed that you properly pronounced a somewhat complicated word like derriere. Very impressed. You're coming around.
Thank you.
You're learning. You're growing. You self-edited yourself earlier when you said missile instead of blank missile. Very impressive. You're having a good day so far.
That word? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, there you go. Well, forget it. I was just saying you're having a good day. There it went. Let's take a break. One of the most controversial rules from last season is likely not going to be back. A shred of good news at an otherwise bleak time for humanity. More PFT Live right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.